Hi everyone, Aiden here with etrailer.com. Today we're taking a look at the Swagman XTC2 Tilt on our 2022 Hyundai Palisade. The XTC is a platform style bike rack holding the bike in these wheel hoops and primarily by our frame up here. It's going to hold it with a frame hook. Frame hook's important to note because any sort of frame contact, we do want to avoid carbon frame bikes, but with a frame hook specifically, we will probably need to pick up a bike adapter bar for alternative frame bikes to ensure that the hook gets a good solid contact on the frame and holds the bike well. In addition to that, we've got a 35-pound weight capacity per bike to keep in mind, and as long as we stay within those limits, we should be all good. Now, the XTC2 Tilt has a tilt feature. Like the name suggests, we've got a pin and retaining clip at the bottom that we can remove, and I really like this, how it doesn't automatically tilt away. It lets you stand up, get to a better position where we can have the mast as a sort of grab point and gain access to the back of our vehicle here once it's tilted away. It does come a little close in certain parts with like our pedal here, but overall we get good tilt and good clearance with our hatch. So we can sit back here and change our shoes before or after a ride. You can see we've got tons of room to do that. But also if we need to get something out of the back, we can do that without having to unload the bike rack. With platform style bike racks, and especially entry-level platform style bike racks, we don't always get that tilting feature. And it's nice to see that this more entry-level option does have that available. Something I compare this to a lot is the Hollywood Rack's Destination 2 bike rack. That's another pretty entry-level platform style rack. But that one doesn't tilt away, so if we do want to get to the back of our Palisade, we have to unload the bikes to do that with that rack. This one, again, we can do it with the bikes loaded. Now, to get the bikes unloaded, we can come to the wheel hoops, and we've got straps holding down each wheel. These are secondary points of contact that we'll remove first. And then once those are done, we can undo the hooks, pressing in on this gray button on the side to release the ratcheting mechanism and just completely remove the hook from the center mast. Just like that. And then we can lift the bike up and away. The center mast does present an obstacle to work around, which can be kind of annoying, especially depending on the bike. But with ours, it wasn't too bad. There's room between that front tire and the frame to just fit that mast through. But again, it is an obstacle you have to work around, so just be mindful of that. There is a point on those hooks where I can add a padlock through to lock up the lever. So if we want to secure our bikes to the rack, it's pretty easy to do so. Not included with the bike rack, but easy to pick up on your own. And from here, I want to get some measurements. We're going to start off with our ground clearance. At the back end, lowest point, it's going to be 16.5 inches of clearance. There is a slight rise in the shank here, so I think we should be all good as far as ground clearance is concerned. And then with distance added to the back, we are going to be looking at about 19 inches, which of all the bike racks we've tested today, that's the one that probably sticks out the least, which is pretty impressive. It was a little close to our pedals and the back of our Palisade here, but there was clearance, and there was also clearance to tilt. So with this though, you don't have the ability to fold it upright when bikes are unloaded. Other racks like that Destination 2 bike rack from Hollywood Racks have the ability to fold up and save some space when bikes are unloaded, but since this one doesn't add too much length, I'd say that's a fair trade-off. There are some other things we can do though. I'm going to actually replace these straps just so they aren't freely moving around. But we can fold down the center mast by removing this pin, folding the mast down, and reinserting the pin. I'm actually going to bring these hooks pretty much all the way down to the bottom here, just because they tend to get in the way a little bit less down here. But with this, I'd say this is a good driving storage mode. It lets us get access to the back of our vehicle if we want it, and it's still only sticking out a little bit. One other thing you can do is actually fold up the sides of the bike rack. That doesn't have too much of a purpose when it's on the vehicle like this, but for storage in your garage, it's actually really handy. So I'll fold up the mast here, and you can see we've got these pins on the side. Fold these up, and depending on where these cradles fall, they might make contact with the hooks. So So I'm just going to move them around a little bit so that we can get those holes to properly align. There's one thing about it that I don't love. It's really hard to get these to line up properly. So you have to kind of play around with how the cradles are spaced out. Those cradles are adjustable to accommodate for different wheelbases, but because you have to slide them to make clearance work sometimes, you can't always get it perfectly set for your bike and just have it set there and stay there. So that's kind of a shame to see. It does make the whole experience a little more cumbersome. And then from here, we can just make that minor adjustment, get that pin added in. You can see this is the garage storage position. Takes up a lot less room this way, and it's just more condensed. Down towards the hitch, we've got it working with our 2" by 2" receiver tube using the included adapter sleeve, but it'll also work with 1¼ hitches as well. It also comes with an anti-rattle bolt, not locking, but you can pick up a lock separately if you do want to, but that's going to keep it secure on the hitch. And overall, I'd say the XTC is a pretty good entry-level rack. You've got the tilting feature. It's going to be easy to store in your garage when you don't have it in your hitch. The only thing it's missing for me is just some ease of use things. Those pins are really hard to get in place, so using it and having that feature is nice, but actually utilizing it is kind of a pain sometimes. But that might not be a big concern for you, and if it's not, I think it'll be a great fit for your Palisade. Thanks for watching.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action. This simulates turning corners or evasively maneuvering. Once we get to the full speed bumps, we'll see the up and down action. This will be just like driving in and out of a parking lot, parking garage, or driveway. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving over uneven pavement.